PSO2 Episode 5 brought along with it a new form of quest called Buster Quests, and they will have you face off against a supernatural castle with 7 other players. This quest mode is a bit different than what you've probably seen before though, as it is split up into a few different phases. The first of which will have you defend towers from waves of enemies, and then you will eventually go on the offensive to take down the castle. Now, to unlock Buster Quests, you must first complete a few Episode 5 story missions until you reach the Buster Quest tutorials. And for those who didn't know, you can skip right to the Episode 5 story without needing to actually complete the previous story quests. Just change to Episode 5 right at the quest NPC. Once you have access to Buster Quests, you should first know that there are a few different modes, which are the Free Match, Main Match, and Main Match Advanced. There is then also a ranking system that ties into all of these as well, and these ranks are known as grades. Beginning with the Main Match, you will start off at Grade 1, and will be matched with those in a similar grading as you. Then, by completing main matches, you will receive Buster Points, which will eventually rank you up to the next grade when accumulating enough of them. You can find your current grade and Buster Points in the Escape menu, character icon at the bottom, content information, then Buster information. As far as level requirements go, they are actually pretty low, so almost anyone can play up to Grade 3 with no problems, as your level and damage scale according to the grade. Now, the max rank or grade you can get is 3, but once you have over 3,000 Buster Points and are on a level 80 or higher class in a subclass, you will gain access to the Main Match Advanced, which is essentially the same thing as Grade 3, but the enemies hit harder, and there's an additional Buster Pile phase. Getting back to the free matches, they were originally a form of regaining Buster Stamina, but since that's no longer a thing, they are mainly now used for Buster Medal drops. They also grant a 100% try boost to the next 2 main matches you play afterwards, and this can stack twice, for a boost that will last the next 4 main matches. So it's not always a bad idea to weave a few of these in between a main match every now and then. But it should be noted that in free matches you will not gain any Buster Points for winning, nor will you gain any drops besides Buster Medals. Now, if you were to queue up a main match with a party, the grade of the Buster Quest will then be set to that of the lowest party member's Buster ranking. For the rest of the team, the match will then turn into a free match, while the lowest ranking member will still gain points. So while it's not the best system, it still allows for everyone to help their friends or alliance members catch up to each other pretty quickly. With that said, let's now get right into how the quest actually works. At the start, there will be a short phase where you can run back and forth collecting mana crystals around the towers. In general, when it comes to these crystals, going forward, try to pick up as much mana as you can throughout the entire match, while of course still focusing on doing away with enemies. Designating someone as the main crystal grabber for the later phases can also work very well too. Now in Grade 2 and higher, this preparing phase is also when 4 random players will become responsible for choosing which weapon configuration they would like for a specific tower. Take the time you spend in the lower grades to find out what each weapon set does, and what you like. Though for the advanced matches, it is generally recommended to use the defensive set, as it has lots of ways to completely stop enemies from approaching, and it even has a telepipe cannon to help you traverse the field faster too. Anyways, once the match actually starts, the first phase will have you defend the towers from waves of enemies, just like a defense mission. Periodically, and depending which grade you're in, additional hazards will appear in the field that must be taken care of, such as growths on your towers, bombs, incoming missiles, supernatural towers, big fists, and sometimes even bosses. All of these can be destroyed through combat, but the growth in the towers can either be removed by interacting with a terminal on the tower, or simply wait until the plant part appears and then destroy it with combat as well. After the first phase is over, and generally after most phases, you will have about a half a minute to collect crystals and prepare for the next phase. After that, you'll transition into the Buster phase, where you must protect the Buster Piles from enemies while they charge up to break the castle walls. If the Buster Piles are destroyed, the phase will end, and you will have to repeat the process again until you either succeed or the time runs out. If you are successful in keeping them alive, the castle walls will be blown apart. Do note, however, that in the advanced matches, there are 2 Buster Pile phases, which are separated by a defense phase. Anyways, as soon as the walls are destroyed, the attack phase will begin almost immediately, in which you must simply run up the middle staircase and take out the supernatural castle's core. Once that's taken care of, you will have one more round of defense, and this is where it can sometimes get a bit more chaotic. So just hang back and take out all of the enemies and hazards like before. Try not to get tunnel visioned by this though, and keep an eye on the minimap at all times. After a few minutes of defending again, the final attack phase will start, in which everyone will need to make their way up the castle. But this time, you will need to fight your way up the ramps on the sides, and you can only proceed further when taking care of the enemies and obstacles along the way. Try to split all players up evenly between both sides, as that will generally make the whole process a bit faster. So if you see everyone going to one side, maybe go to the other side. It should be noted now that once you are on the boss platform, all you have to do now is attack the weak spots on the boss's wrists. But if you take out the towers on the topmost part of each ramp, this will also stop the boss from shooting as much lasers at you. Generally, this isn't really necessary outside of Advanced, and even then, this part goes so quickly that it can be easily skipped in just about any grade. Anyways, once the hands are taken out, you'll be able to run right up its arm and attack its head, and it will then likely die extremely fast at that point. And that's really it for Buster Quests. Of course, different grades bring more difficulty, but the general idea stays the same, which is don't lose your towers or Buster Piles, collect mana, and watch out for the hazards. Now, I'd like to quickly go over the drops before we wrap this up. First and foremost, every match type will drop Buster Medals, however Free seems to give the most. Then, every match type and grade, besides Free, can drop 13-star Supernatural and Evlita weapons, 12-star Evlita units, and Cleasis boosters. Do keep in mind that weapons that drop come with a max grind cap of 35, whereas ones from collection folders or exchange shops come with a max grind cap of 30. Next, in Advanced, you will see a significant increase in rarer drops compared to all previous grades, and these can also drop Chevelle boosters too. You can then take your Buster medals over to the Buster Exchange NPC in the shop area and exchange them for whatever you may want or need depending on what drops you already have. And that should just about do it for Buster Quests. I originally wanted to break down and show every tower weapon configuration, but in the end, I think it may be easier for you to just test them all out yourself firsthand. And to be honest, these matches go so fast that I didn't want to make this video longer than an actual quest would take. So, I hope this helped, and I'll see you guys next time.